Hello, and welcome to Lit by Moonlight, where it's not a phase to take a power nap while your adoptive daughter fights for her life. Today, we are reviewing HBO's The Last of Us with Episode 8, When We Are in Need.
I am in need.
I think we're all in need of
Deeply in need.
Deeply in need. We do want to give a content warning for this episode for graphic, physical, and sexual violence.
In this episode, Ellie is left to defend herself from a religious group led by a cannibalistic literal turd named David. After Ellie is able to get medicine from David and his group track her back to the neighborhood where she and Joel are hiding out and where Joel remains unconscious. Ellie administers the medicine to Joel and tries to lead David's group away from Joel on the horse. After Ellie is shot off the horse and concussed, David carries her back to his settlement and cages her. Meanwhile, Joel has awoken and he is ready to kill.
Nice.
He is out for blood. David tries to entice Ellie into joining the group as his child bride, but not before Ellie realizes that the group is eating people.
Eating people.
Ellie escapes David's grasp and murders him in a fiery, very justified rage as he attempts to assault her. She reunites with Joel outside the building, and he comforts her. And that's the show. Yeah.
I'm Caitlin, and I'm really good at axe throwing if you don't count all the times that I miss.
I mean, you sent me that picture of you hitting a bullseye. I am inclined to believe that is the only
bullseye
result. Yeah, that's the only outcome from your axe throwing. It's just bullseye galore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it.
Absolutely crushed it.
I'm Emberlyn, and I am stylistically the deer corpse that got dragged around during the beginning of the episode.
Oh.
That one shot of it just like being dropped by David on the ground in that little abandoned barn area, I was like, that's me. I'm literally that
Tag
deer.
yourself, I'm the deer corpse.
That's literally me, unfortunately.
I'm the rabbit who miraculously got away in this adaptation.
Damn. He got away. So Caitlin, this episode may have changed us all.
Mm-hmm.
As people. What hooked you?
So I had a couple hooks. The first was when they showed the town, like the first establishing shot of the town, and inside that like lodge / dining hall, because my stress levels immediately skyrocketed upon seeing them. So shout out to the set design team for just, again, with their incredible accuracy to the game. My next hook was Troy Baker, who is in this episode. Hello, and he's playing a bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was. I think it was really cool to see him in this, and I thought it would have been funny. And for those of you who somehow don't know, Troy Baker does play Joel Miller in the video game. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be funny if like he started talking, you just hear Joel. He used his Joel voice.
It high-key kind of felt like that, though. Like, the episode started, and I was like, that guy looks really familiar.
Hey, wait a minute.
He seems very similar to another guy I know. Yeah.
I just thought it'd be funny if he was like, David, we're running out of food. I say in my amazing Joel impression.
That was good. You should play him on the show, The Last of Us.
Troy Baker and Pedro Pascal, I'm coming for your jobs.
Yeah.
I also finally laughed so hard when they showed the rabbit because of the meme that exists of the rabbit getting shot and this girl crying over it.
Can you give additional context?
Yeah, so there is a video that went around. The video I saw was like two types of people playing The Last of Us, and it shows this person and she's like crying because in the game it like Joel gets stabbed from the rebar, and then it cuts to black, and then it's winter, and it opens up on like this wintry shot, and a rabbit like jumps across screen, and she's crying because of what just happened in the game to Joel, and she goes, "That's the cutest freaking thing I've ever seen," and then it immediately gets shot with an arrow, and she goes, "Ah!" and cries.
Wow.
And then, so that happens, and then there's like another video of this guy watching it, and he looks at it, and it gets shot, and he just starts bursting out laughing. So it's terrible. But I remember when I played the game, I was very similar to the woman in the beginning, where I was like, "Oh, it's a rabbit," and then immediately gets shot by an arrow, and I'm like, "Oh, never mind."
It sure isn't now, and it was spared.
And it was spared, but Ellie didn't shoot it in the TV adaptation, so shout out to the rabbit for living this time around.
Yeah.
What was your hook?
At first I was like, okay, thinking about this question, I truly don't remember at the beginning of I just remember anything that happened before the ear. It's just not something I can even register. But the more I look back, I mean, the way the episode starts, it's very eerie, right? Like, you've got Ellie, poor Ellie, all by herself hunting, and then you've got this group of guys and gals. I said, that's like a very, that's like an understatement, but yeah.
It's a chill group of guys and gals.
A very chill group of guys and gals just living in the mountains. You thought that commune was cool? Well, have you tried the cannibalistic theocracy?
Hey, we never said you didn't have options in the apocalypse, you know?
Windy resort, a winter-ridden desert, a snow-ridden resort. I just said dessert. I'm really hungry. I almost texted the group chat today, and I was almost told y'all about how much I've been begging. Like, I've been really craving cake, like, all day, so.
Oh, I have plenty left over from my birthday. You want some?
I know how perfectly ironic that is. It's the unfortunate thing is probably, like, the couple 100 miles in between us right now.
Yeah, not sure it'll make it.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the United States of America will just gradually get shorter for no reason. Who knows?
It'll bring us together real quick.
Yeah. But in all sincerity, when Ellie gives Joel the knife and his peoples start moving, I was in it. Like, he has risen. Like, he's coming. Like, terrifying. Like, big, like, I don't know, like, Ron Swanson stealth energy in that moment, and I was very much looking forward to it. Like, woof.
Woof. Did you have a favorite quote from this episode?
Okay, so when Ellie says ditto for Buddy Boy, and she persistently calls Troy Baker's character Buddy Boy. I love her. Like, ditto for Buddy. I'm gonna start using that shit. Like, when somebody confronts me in the metro, I'm gonna be like, listen here, Buddy Boy, you don't want to mess with me.
Get one right between the eyeballs.
Yeah. And it was even this episode. It was like two great quotes for Ellie. That was one of them. The other one for me was when Ellie, she says, "Tell them Ellie is the little girl who broke your fucking finger." And she screams it at David when she's in the cage. I, like, Ralphed. Like,
Emmys for Bella. Emmys for Bella.
That is delicious. Great job.
Yep.
When Joel yells, "What town?" When he's, like, trying to get information out of the two guys that wander into the town looking for him and trying to hunt him down. He's trying to find out now where Ellie is gone. I will be watching that episode again tonight. I will be watching that scene again tonight. The rage, I just, wow, like, he did that. And then, of course, I think it's important for us to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, of course, "It's okay, baby girl. Bye."
I got you.
Oh my God, bye. Bye. I descended.
Bye.
I was in hell crying.
Ugh. We're going to unpack that later, but we all know that is the line of the episode.
Yeah.
So some of mine, I also loved the Ellie's little girl who broke your fucking finger line, just because Bella's delivery of that, my hot take is I like it way better than the game iteration of it, because, like, it's good, obviously, because Ashley Johnson's incredible, but I don't know, there's just something about Bella's way of saying it is that there's more rage to it.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
It's and so Ellie.
She's so Ellie.
Yeah.
You know, Ellie is so Ellie.
Yeah.
And every time that Bella Ramsey yells, and usually when they scream a swear word, I'm like, that's Ellie.
Yeah, that's my
that's
girl.
Baby girl.
Yeah.
So I just really loved that, and I just loved seeing violent Ellie.
Yeah.
Another Ellie line that I liked was, "You went from teacher to preacher because what? It fucking rhymed."
Yeah.
I really like that with her snark, and also, oh my god, that man was a teacher.
I was gonna say that. That's horrifying. Like,
yeah,
who vets these people?
They said, we're gonna take David and make him 10,000 times worse. Ugh, I loved when in the interrogation scene when Joel, he uses his little map trick and he kills the guy who points where the town is, and the other guy is yelling, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you shit, like, you didn't have to do that, and like, why? He's all upset because his friend was just killed. And he's like, I'm not telling you shit, and Joel goes, it's okay, I believed him, and then just cuts to him like throwing the crowbar over his head. I yelled. I was like, oh my god. I was like, that was sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The way it cut, it was, I have been waiting for this side of Joel to come out, and it was so nice to see. And so I just, it was so well done. This isn't a line from the show, but when we were watching it, Joel is on his way to find Ellie, and he comes across this like garage, and my dad goes, ugh, the garage. Because he struggled getting through that ambush part in the game, and like same, that part kind of sucked. So, ugh, the garage. And obviously I also put It's Okay, Baby Girl, because I knew it was coming. I knew that was going to be my little birthday gift from Craig and Neil themselves, and I appreciate it very much. Yeah. And I did cry about it later.
Thanks. So every girl in the 20s has a birthday cry, and you were just fortunate enough to have a birthday cry that was related to this show.
Yeah.
And not the sweet embrace of time.
Yeah. I'm not having any sort of life crisis. It's like any crisis I'm having is just because of this show that I like willingly, voluntarily make myself watch.
Yeah. So this is kind of a violent question. I know we kind of come up with a different iteration of this question every week, but what song would you break David's finger to?
Literally any song under the sun, because I would break that man's fingers, let them heal, and break them again. Yeah.
Silence. Silence is fine.
So, yeah, really. The Song of Cracking Bones is what
Song of Cracking Bones.
So when I originally read this question, I was thinking it was like, what song would you like beat the ever-living shit to David?
I almost wrote Kill David, but I was like, I don't really want to end up in prison. Like,
but he was bad, and he's fictional. So
True.
So I said Arsonist Lullaby by Hozier because it felt right, considering the fact that Ellie ended that man's whole career while the lodge was on fire.
Whee! As she should have, yeah.
As she should. What song would you break David's fingers to?
So many. I took kind of like leaving the church, Girls Against God kind of moment. Through just because of all of the religious trauma in this episode. So I'll list a couple for you, but Big God by Florence and the Machine, Girls Against God by Florence and the Machine, Restraint by Florence and the Machine, Prayer Factory by Florence and the Machine, Dream Girl Evil by Florence and the Machine, and King by Florence and the Machine.
Wow, she's really kind of hitting the nail on the head for this episode. Huh?
I know, she really is. I'm like, girl, where'd you heard this album before?
Soundtrack.
And then I also said that I think Ellie should listen to a single track off of Preacher's Daughter by Ethel Cain for every finger.
Yes.
Like in all respect. I made like a whole playlist again last night. It's called Ellie. I'm not even gonna link it. Like, just go find it. You know where I am. You know where
she is by this point. She has so many playlists.
If you're interested. If you're interested in reading my diary, there it is. That's all. Yeah. It's like a stupid question because I'm just gonna tell you all of like how I'm processing this, and that's through like a really a playlist about I don't know. something. Anyway,
if you don't make a playlist after every episode, I question your health.
Yeah, you should check in on me and make sure that I'm still good. I literally couldn't sleep last night. Like, I lay down and I was like, I like woke up. I was like not wait. Well, I was awake and I was like, I have to make a playlist about this. And I kept saying to myself, well, no, you gotta go into work early tomorrow. No, I have to make a playlist about. If I don't do it right now, I'll die. Like, yeah. I literally got up and ran over and grabbed my phone and did it ultimately because I just couldn't. My brain was fighting me. I was like, you will not sleep until you make this playlist. So
my Sunday night ritual is staying up late and just writing Meta on Tumblr about the show.
Yeah,
it's like one paragraph.
I just needed to go out and scream into the web. Yeah.
Yeah. Every Sunday night I wake up and every Monday morning I have to be up really early and I don't learn my lesson. But I only have one more week of this, so...
That's good. That's good.
It's probably good for everybody. Yeah. That we only get one more week of trauma.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a dark time. It feels like it's been a dark time.
We're really getting through the seasonal depression.
Yeah.
When we get it.
So far, so good.
The fact that this ends on daylight savings time, I feel like just really... just like, oh yeah, I've connected to the two dots.
Oh my god! Wait, do they do daylight savings time anymore? Isn't that over?
No, we still do it.
Didn't we stop? Didn't we pass a law to stop?
We talk about it a lot, but I don't think we ever actually do.
We never passed a law to do that?
No.
Boo.
I want more sunlight. It's dark.
Wow. I've lived my life for the past couple months thinking we finally we axed daylight savings time and we were gonna stop doing it, period. And it was, you know.
I think we just have the same discussion every year and we're like, we should do this.
But we don't. Boo. Oh well. So what character would you hold tightly and call
Ellie.
Baby girl? Who
Ellie.
do you need to comfort after
Ellie.
this episode?
Ellie.
Who?
Ellie.
Who's Ellie? I'm just kidding.
Who's Ellie? Ellie. Give Bella an Emmy. Have we said this already? Give Bella an Emmy.
No.
Oh my god. This was such a tough episode. And the way that Bella balances Ellie's fear, confidence, and just pure rage is incredible. Every time Bella screams in this show, throughout the entire time, but this episode specifically, I still hear them in my head. They're echoing off the empty brain space in my head. It's just their screams. It was so heartbreaking and so guttural. The way that Ellie screams turn from terror to absolute rage while she's killing David was so much. And I love so much that they let that go out as long as they could with her. It looks like she's about to stop and she hesitates for a second and then she goes, nope, round two. We're still going at it. And Ellie's face when she does get reunited with Joel, when she panics because she doesn't when she doesn't register who it is, all she can register is the fact that there's more hands on her that are trying to get to her. Her face journey of the fight is lost in her, but she's still trying to pound against it, and then you see the moment it clicks, oh, this is Joel. I'm safe. Incredible. And then just her long stare afterwards, where she's just she's not even present. She's just kind of going with the flow at this point. Just one foot in front of the other. I don't know. It's just, if Bella doesn't get an Emmy, then what was this all for?
Yeah, that would be messed up.
What about you?
Yeah. Same. I mean, I listed I kept listing different moments during this episode when I was with Ellie, when she was on the horse with the gun, but Ellie biting David, Ellie stabbing David to death. I mean, Bella Ramsey gave such an insane performance in this episode. It shook me to my core. Just you talking about it now gives me chills. Their screams when they're stabbing David. I feel like we give Bella Ramsey nothing but praise every week, but that's just because it's so well deserved. They just fuck shit up every episode. It's I shaking my head in disbelief at what I feel what we witnessed last night.
I feel like it's because, Ellie as a character is so beloved. Yeah. And so of course, no matter who is cast, you have a lot of big shoes to fill because Ashley Johnson was incredible, and just like the whole story and how Ellie was written was incredible. And then to have to like fill those shoes, but then give a performance that is like, oh, of course you're Ellie. Like,
yeah.
It's like they were born to play Ellie.
Yeah.
And I am just so like I said earlier, I feel like Bella is more Ellie than Ellie is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I just, if that's what they did for this episode, I am ecstatic and frightened of season 2.
I will not be attending season 2.
What season 2? Nothing. Everything actually, it ended after this episode.
If you were to send me a calendar invite for season 2, I would respectfully decline it.
Yeah.
I would hit tentative, and then I would never fully tell you, yes, no, yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be there. I'm afraid.
You should be.
I'm afraid. I'm not well enough for such things. Like,
I'm not strong enough.
Just not. I'm not. That's not who I am.
Yeah. I don't think any of us are ready for that.
No.
But in the meantime, let's get into our peaks and valleys of episode 8. What was your first peak?
I had quite a few peaks, and I know you did too.
Yep.
Because there were just genuinely so many high points in this episode. Like,
yeah.
There are so many times when I was like leaving off my couch, you know? And I just think that they did it so well. Like,
yeah.
The first one for me was, it's just in all caps, he's awake.
Yeah.
When the guys are outside looking around for Joel, and there's just this quick flash shot of him hitting the guy over the head with the shotgun.
Yes.
I can, like, this is the unchained stealth and rage I've been waiting for from this beautiful man. And I am so pleased. Like, I just, it gives me chills. Like, I was waiting for this. Like,
yep.
I was sitting there, like, legs crossed, you know, maybe twirling my hair, waiting very patiently for such things. And yesterday night, he delivered.
He delivered.
What was your first peak?
So to go off of yours, one of my peaks is, in all caps, Joel fucking Miller. Because I've been waiting to see this side of him. And, like, I was so excited. I was going to say unjustifiably excited for this interrogation scene.
But you were
like,
justified.
I was justified,
yeah.
Because did you see? Because in the game, it's so great because you've gone back and forth. Now you've been playing as Ellie, but she's in a predicament. It's terrible. And now you're like, I gotta go save my baby girl as a Joel. And like the scene, it's so satisfying when Joel is just like, I'm gonna pop your fucking kneecap off, and like you want him to, and it's like, oh, it's so great. And like he's like so calm about it all. Yeah. But I loved how in the show he did lose his cool for a sec when he yelled like, "Watch out!" And I was like, oh no, like let's go. So seeing him do that was just incredible because it was so violent, but like it was so like rewarding because he's doing this because he needs to get back to Ellie. Like this man literally just came back from the dead basically.
Yeah.
Of like being like, oh, she's gone. I'm fine now.
Yeah.
like time to go find her. So like seeing him do all that and uses the map trick that he does and the desperation that he has to find Ellie, and when he, like I've already said, he picks up that lead pipe and he just says, "It's okay." I believed him so calmly. And then it was sick. It was the coolest moment.
Goosebumps.
In cinema.
Oh my god.
Ever. So good. And I feel like Pedro Pascal did a fantastic job in that scene because I love it when characters who have been going through hell just finally get their moment to just be unhinged.
Yeah.
So
oh my god,
we got that. We got that from both of our leads today or yesterday, and it was you know, happy birthday to me.
Stellar episode. Yeah. Stellar acting.
Stella.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stella. Sorry. Whenever I see Pedro Pascal like in this show now, do you remember from The Princess Bride that it's like I don't know what you'd call him, but he's like administering Princess Buttercup's wedding, and he comes up and he goes, marriage.
Marriage.
That's what I think whenever I see. I'm like, marriage.
Marriage.
We're getting married. Like, marriage. Like,
marriage. The officiant.
Yeah, there we go. I keep thinking, like, I kept wanting to say, like, they'd be a pastor, but I guess they'd be, no. Okay, anyway, my second peak was the twist in this episode, because I knew a little bit about what was going to happen going into this episode. Like,
yeah, I was gonna ask, did you know?
I knew, like, a little bit. Like, I knew about the ending. I knew a little bit about David, but not this. So,
and this being
all of it. I mean, like, I knew that, you know, David's like kind of this like grody religious character and like yada yada, but I just did not know. I mean, I'll get into David more in a moment, but the twist of them being cannibals, neither my partner or I expected that. And my partner went into this also knowing a little bit about how this episode would go, and he didn't know that either. And so when
I thought you said he watched a gameplay eventually. He didn't catch the fact that they were cannibals?
He's a man, Caitlin.
That's true.
I don't know what to tell you, like...
It was kind of like a whole thing, but okay.
So the moment we saw the ear, I was like, it didn't register with me for a second. Like, I'm like staring at this ear. I'm like, why is there an ear? Like, and then it hit me.
What's going on?
And it was like, oh my God. Like, what I have in my notes is my genuine reaction.
Yeah.
It floored me. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's incredible because, like, I don't think, unless you know already, you know something's fishy's going on, especially for the fact that, like, when they were making the stew and someone's like, what's the meat? And they're like, venison.
Yeah.
And then, like, a scene later, they come in with the deer that they just got, and you're like,
I didn't even see that. Then? I didn't even catch that. I must have been looking down at my phone, so I didn't see the deer come in. So I was like...
Yeah. My dad and I, venison. Of course, we know because we've played the game. So when they're like venison, we both go, nope. Like, no, it's not. That child's eating her father right now.
Vishwas goes, and this is where I must have like looked down to type this. He goes, I can't believe they're not going to grill that venison before they put it in the stew.
That's not venison.
And I look back at that note, and I'm like, I guess that doesn't matter now. Like,
doesn't even matter.
Really
I mean,
cares?
I guess you should still grill it, but like,
I don't know. Ask Hannibal Lecter. Like, oh my gosh. What was your second peak?
My next peak was in all caps, Ellie motherfucking Williams. Oh my God. Again, I was so excited for this episode. I always say I'm as excited for this episode because I am, but like this episode I was also the most stressed out about because the whole winter section is so much, and I was like, it's dark, it's stressful, but there's so much to it. I was afraid of like them. Not that I was afraid that they weren't going to do it justice because we're 8 episodes in and the show's been perfect.
Yeah.
But I was still like, this is like an hour episode long. You're going to do the entire winter section here? Like,
yeah.
What's happening? That's why I was like almost thrown off when the episode last week ended when it did. Because I'm like, oh, we're not going to go a little bit forward?
Yeah.
Nope, we're just going to end it there and we're going to do everything next week? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yeah. I paused the episode so many times because I was like, how much time do we have left to do all this? Like,
yeah, there's so much that still needs to happen. But they did it, and I thought it was perfect. I thought it was really well done. And I was really excited for this episode because I knew we were going to get Ellie all on her own. And I was excited for that because one of the biggest shocks of the game for me when I first played it was when it cuts to winter and then all of a sudden you're playing as Ellie, which I had no idea was going to be a thing. And I think that was their goal of the game, because I've seen some interviews where they're like, we don't want people to know that you do get to play as Ellie eventually. So that was a really cool, like, kind of a twist, but also like a shock because in that moment you're like, so is Joel dead? Like, where am I? Like, what's going on? Like, a whole other season. So I really liked it, and I loved. When I was playing the game, I was immediately more careful and better at stealth because I did not want to see the animation of Ellie getting killed.
Yeah.
If I like ever got killed by whoever was coming after me. And I think I cried the first time I died as Ellie because I'm like, no, she's a child.
No. Oh my God. I completely forget that that's a possibility.
Yeah. And it's a lot. So like Joel, like, yeah, it sucks, but like at least he's like an adult man. But then you play as Ellie and you're like, I am a child and I'm dead. Like,
yeah.
That was rough. So I was really excited to see how Ellie was gonna be all out on her own and also just get that side of her and just like the rage. When she first confronts David and Troy Baker, I know his name is James, but it's Troy Baker, and I am still so excited that he was here in the episode. When she lowers her voice to sound all tough, I love that detail because, like, to me, it was like in that moment, she's like just trying to be like Joel, you know, and she's on her own, so all she can do is just take everything she's learned from Joel and try to, you know, use that information. The first thing she does is buddy boy, you know, like drop the weapon, buddy like boy. When she did it, I loved it because it was very like, to me, like I giggled because I was like, she's trying to be tough, but I'm like, oh, but she's trying to be tough because now she's out on her own. She doesn't know what to do,
and she's out in the woods with two men.
Not a good situation for any girl to be in. But I loved, someone on Tumblr pointed out how, like, her quips and her, like, snarky remarks when she's on her own are completely different from when she's with Joel. Because when she's with Joel, she feels safe, and she's definitely, like, she's more quick on her feet. She has, like, different, she seems more confident. She's quicker with her, like, comebacks. But, like, here, she repeats the same thing over and over again. Like, she says buddy boy, and she says, I'm gonna put one right between your eyes twice. Like, because she's nervous and she doesn't have the safety.
Exactly.
So I thought that was a really cool detail that was noticed, and I love that she had the sense to unload both of their guns while they were stepped away from it. I like that detail. And again, Bella Ramsey has this amazing gift of showing real fear, but also Ellie's toughness at the same time. Like, the entire cage scene was brilliant with the body language, and when she tricked David into getting closer and breaking his finger, I yelled. Yeah. Perfection.
Yeah. As she should have.
Yes.
As she should have.
He had it coming.
Just the pleasure of David's fall from grace is like something that will probably be fueling me for the rest of the week.
What was your next peak? We still have so many.
I know. No. Watch Mojo's top 10 peaks. I guess I'll talk about my Ellie related peak, which is Ellie saving Ellie. This is very special to me. When I say Ellie saving Ellie, this is a good opportunity for me to expand on this. I mean, she gets to follow through with this kill. Like, no one stops her. And I think the expectation Vishwas and I both had is that Joel would save Ellie. Yes. And I love that. And he does in some ways get to, like, have an emotional impact on her at the end of the episode. But I really like that it was her kill to make, because this man is, like, literally, this is, I mean, like, he is violating her space and trying, like, so I wrote this down, and I think it shouldn't go over our heads that last week's episode was about finding girlhood in difficult times. And this week is about preserving girlhood in the wake of a world that is trying to rip it away from you. And, like, that's exactly what this guy is doing. And I think it's really important to me that it was her that got to make that kill. Yes. And then in the game, she kills David as well, but it's Joel kind of stops her mid-kill. And I like that here she just got to go insane and just do it.
I completely agree. I love that change. I'm glad that he didn't, like, come in and stop her. Like, she got to go as long as she needed to.
Yeah, she got to have her moment. When this is so gruesome. When the captions on her screen read David gurgling, and I just, like, nodded. I was like, yeah, you should. Slay.
You should be gurgling.
Slay.
I was gonna say I support women's wrongs, but, like, she was so right for doing that.
I support men's gurgling.
I support pedophiles gurgling.
To be so real. Like, what was your next peak?
The next one I want to touch on is just Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
This was like, even though they were separated for the most of it, basically all of it, this was once again such a strong Joel and Ellie episode. This show was about love, and every episode you get a new take on it, and this episode was how far they'll go for that. And like, we saw that like the second that like Ellie was no longer safe and that Joel had to go after her, he's immediately like injury? What injury? Time to kill people. Like, use all of my strength that I have now to just fucking stealth kill this guy and then torture these two guys. And he'll do anything to get to her. And with Ellie, she's doing everything to keep him safe and to get him better. And like, she goes out into the woods, and it's scary and terrifying, and maybe she shouldn't do it, but she's desperate for medicine, and she has the promise of penicillin.
Yeah.
And they give it to her, so she takes it. And then the way that she lures them away from Joel, or attempts to lure them away from Joel and come after her, and said not that she wants her to come after her, but like,
yeah,
they're the things that they do, they're doing for each other. And they will go, these two, you've seen, like, they're so alike, and it shows like they don't care what they do as long as they get to each other in the end. That's all that matters. I loved the addition of Ellie laying down beside Joel with her head on his chest, and in his sleep his head turns towards her. I wasn't prepared for that at all. Like, I wasn't ready. It was just so sweet and so heartbreaking, because like, maybe she's just like monitoring his heartbeat and making sure he's still breathing and living, or also maybe she's seeking comfort in him,
right,
as he's unconscious. And it's just, I really loved that moment when she gave him a knife and was pleading with him that like, hey, there are people coming, and I need you to, whoever comes down here, I need you to kill them.
Yeah,
because they're coming and I can't do anything about it. And the end, I knew it was coming, and I nothing ever could have emotionally prepared me to see this in live action. The way, again, like I touched on, like her screaming at first because she didn't realize it was Joel, and then just what really gets me is the way Joel's voice was so soft and higher pitched.
Yeah,
with her, as he was like reassuring Ellie that it was him. Like, the way he says, like, look, like, it's so high and so soft and desperate, and it's just like, you can tell like that he doesn't know what just happened to her, but it's horrible, and he once again wasn't able to protect her in that moment. And she's like processing everything, and just when she registers that it's him and she's safe and he's alive, and then just falls into him. The way she can't even speak.
Yeah,
like, she doesn't, like, in the game she says he tried to, and then it gets like, she doesn't even get anything else, and then she says Joel's name. All she gets out in the show is he, and then maybe like a little but I, which I kind of heard, but and then it's just her whimpering and crying into his shoulder, and it's so heartbreaking, because in that moment I was like, she's a baby. She's a child. And it was just so heartbreaking. And the way that she clings to him and he holds on to her and tells her that she's okay, baby girl, I got you, it broke my heart. And then he puts his coat around her and holds her close, and she's wrapped up in the safety of his coat and him, and I'm unwell, and I'm not
good
prepared.
Not good.
And I'm not doing good, y'all.
I'm not good.
The Sunday Scaries, they got me again.
It's really kind of incredible, though, too, to see like the duality of man when it comes to Joel in this episode, because he goes from like literally going to kill like these people that are coming after him and have taken Ellie, to caring for Ellie, like, and being soft and kind and protective. And then of course the fact that like his aggression initially was on Ellie's behalf. Like, it's just like, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Like, I'm drinking it, like, I'm drinking it up.
Yeah.
I'm slurping.
Give me a straw. Gurgling.
I was looking for a meme to use at work today, or like a GIF or something, and I was trying to find a good Ina Garten GIF because I consider her to be my muse. And I found one where she's like walking through the grocery store and she looks at a freezer and she goes, "Oh, there's the tea."
I like that.
That's me looking around, and then I see Joel, and I'm like, "There's the tea.
There's the tea.
There he is." So I like that it's really interesting to me that we're getting this expose of all of these different fringe groups that have their own power dynamics.
Yeah.
Because we come back over and over again to this idea that, like, there aren't just, like, fungal zombies out here. There are people. And sometimes people are scarier. So this is our 5th experience with a group that has some sort of chaotic governance. Though I'm going to say 4, because I was thinking, okay, there's Fedra, there's the Fireflies, there's that fridge group in Kansas City, there's these people, and then there's the commune in Jackson. And I don't know if I really lumped. Jackson seems like the Nora Ephron film of all of these. Like, the rest are like Quentin Tarantino, like spooky moments, and then meanwhile, like the kids in Tommy's commune are having like a Hallmark moment. You know, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And sad.
I don't know why I was thinking of that SpongeBob episode where he goes to like Weeee Hut Jr. he's trying to get into like the salty spittoon. Where, like all of the other like factions have been like the salty spittoon, and Jackson, you pan over and it's like Weeee Hut Jr. because it's a nicer, chill place to be.
I just know there's going to be a Reddit thread that takes us equating communism to the Weenie Hut Jr. and running with it. So I'm really sorry.
Go off, guys.
In advance for that. But like, in this case, it's really crazy because it's like a theocracy. And I mean, I can't wrap my head around it. Without the cannibalism, it's still terrifying. And I think what's really interesting is Craig criticizes theocracies in this week's episode of the podcast, the official The Last of, which is very based of him. Like, part of me is like, that's not a bold thing to say, because like, yeah, like that's normal to not want your church and your state touching on the same plate, you know, with your peas and your carrots. But it also feels like it is kind of bold because we're moving kind of in our world dangerously toward like a faith-based governance being the law of the land for some communities for like essential services like abortion and public schooling, etc. And I think that's like really interesting that like this show finds a way over and over again to interlace like very not vague, but like very latent political messages about like people and like what is actually scary in society, whether or not there's apocalypse going on. So I really love that. Like, David is creepy for so many reasons that I'll get into in my valley, but I feel like we all kind of know a David, which makes it even creepier, you know, like,
yeah.
So the fact that they do that, the fact that they really bring out this group, like, it was honestly, I don't want to say too much yet because I still have very happy things to say, but it just kind of blows me away how they're able to create these fringe groups from like nothing and make them terrifying.
It's amazing that this show is set in a zombie apocalypse basically, and the scariest thing about it are the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how in episode 6 when like Tommy and Joel are talking about like how like Joel was saying like how like we killed those people because we had to survive, and Tommy's like, yeah, well, there was another way of surviving, we just didn't know it yet. And because Tommy is living proof that like, look, this is the better way to live, this is a better way to survive. And the fact that like Jackson exists and the cannibal cult exists as well, like it's crazy. It's like they think that that's the only way to survive, and yet it isn't.
No. But I'm blown away. Like, yeah, and apparently not survive because they're eating people. It's actually a great way to die also, and be really hungry or not hungry, depending on who you ask. But and then my last peek, and this is like kind of unrelated, but I wanted to make sure I touched on it. This is something Vishwas mentioned to me, my partner, and he we both kind of watch a lot of behind the scenes content, and we love hearing people talk about what they love. So, that's kind of what we do. But this is like one of those rare experiences where I have heard the creators talk with such defined reverence about the source material and the characters. Like, I've never like seen this level of commitment to an adaptation. We review a lot of them, and in terms of respect for the source material, this one really takes the cake.
It showed right from the episode 1.
Yeah.
And I remember like kind of thinking like, all right, well, first episode was good. Well, let's see how they do. But then like every week I'm like not worried.
Yeah.
At all. And like I'm like, we have one more episode left, and I'm like, yeah, let's see what you do. I mean, you've done so well this far. It's incredible. I've like if like future people who are going to make an adaptation of something, like just like say like a book, and you're gonna turn it into like a movie or a TV show. Take this as an example of what to do. Yeah. Because the fact that like in one of the episodes of the podcast they say like people are coming here for the love of the game. Yeah. Like that's why people are here. That's why a lot of people are working on the people who are working on the show, they're there because they love the game, and it shows. And they're respecting the fact that there's a huge audience for that, and you were doing right by them. It's not just that they're being like, oh, we're gonna make an adaptation of The Last of Us to make money, and because we know a lot of people are gonna come watch it anyway just because the game was so huge. It's no, we're making this because we love the story so much, and we want to tell that story right and maybe expand upon it in ways that game lovers will appreciate, and then new fans will come and appreciate, and then maybe go later play the game or watch gameplay of it. Like it's all for the love of storytelling, and like in a world where so many things feel like they're just being made for profit, it's really nice to see.
Yeah. Like, it's going to be really hard for me to go back to some of the adaptations we've been watching recently and just, like, be really cool about them. Like, I don't know how to do that right now. Like, I really can't. Because
it sets the bar high for so many things.
It does. It really, really does. I guess that means it's time for us to talk about our valleys.
Yeah, I suppose.
What was your first valley? Or what was your valley? I'm assuming there's probably not even one at all. So
yeah, I literally wrote my notes. My totally not at all a valley is how incredible the set design is.
We're like politicians. We've completely reframed this question for our own benefit.
Yeah. We're wait till we get to the ratings of the episode. Yeah. Because when Ellie was in that dining area and like where she has that whole confrontation with David, I quite literally started shaking because just the look of it made me so anxious and stressed because it brought back all of the memories and all of the emotions I had from the game, right down to the fire starting. Yeah. It was so intense, and when just like a booth, like almost like a restaurant booth can make you scared. Like the red of the carpet in there, and like the way, just everything about it, I was like, oh no. Like I'm so scared because like it's Craig in the HBO podcast talked about like a sense memory with the wallpaper in the scene where Joel tells Ellie that he's leaving her with Tommy. That was like a sense memory for me because that was so stressful to get through, and it's the part of the game that sticks with me the most just because of how emotional it was and hard it was, and the whole like Joel and Ellie embrace at the end, and the baby girl, like it just it stuck with me. I think about it often, and so seeing it all play out, it was just like it was like all brand new again. That's the thing about this show. It's like this story is not new to me, but it brings out the emotions of as if it is all new. Yeah. And it's so cool. And the way that Ellie was crawling towards the machete, and I was fighting the urge to hit triangle. It was so stressful, and then, everything after happens, but it was so satisfying and so heartbreaking, and maybe my valley is thinking about if this is the rage that we saw from Bella Ramsey as Ellie. It got me thinking about season 2, and I'm just trying not to think about season 2. I it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, and I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to think about it.
I have a doctor appointment that day.
Yeah.
I can't come.
I'm out of office, sorry.
I'm out of office. I'm in the Poconos. Sorry.
I'm in the Poconos. My ride's here. I gotta go.
My ride's here. It's crazy because that scene prompts, like, it's like the more the fire closes in, the more claustrophobic you get, because it's getting smaller, and it's just you and this fucking guy, like, it's so scary. It's really scary. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
Was your valley?
That was my valley for, like,
yeah.
In a way, like, that was my valley for this episode. Is like, I mean, this isn't my valley. Like, when I say valley, I'm literally just associating the word valley with the negative emotions I felt during this episode.
Even though it was done well.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing is, like, I don't think I've hated a villain this much in, like, a long time. Like, David is fucking horrifying, and I think it's because he's so real. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I think, like, if you at home have experienced religious trauma, then I hope you're not nodding along with me, but, like, we all know a fucker like David, you know?
Right.
And I love this episode. It's gotta be, if it's not my favorite, it's, like, tied with Long, Long Time. But it's the most terrifying thing I've ever, like, experienced. It's scarier to me than, like, the Clickers or the Fungus or the other fringe groups, or literally any scary movie I've ever watched, because David is a powerful white man with the power of Christian propaganda on his side. And I think it's really telling that post-apocalypse in the Last of Us universe, that kind of rhetoric persists and flourishes. And it's horrifying because I believe it. Like, I think Vishwas and I were both just in a state of, like, absolute rage after. Like, like, and like, the release from watching Ellie stab him, I mean, it's like kind of hard to talk about because as much as these people are make-believe, it's also, like, a very violent experience, but it also feels real. I feel like if you've ever dealt with somebody who just, like, who would raise their hand in class and, like, say, well, let's play devil's advocate, you know?
Yeah.
This guy says yoked unironically, okay?
No.
This guy, he handed me a copy of, like, The Art of Courting. And was like, you gotta court before you date. Before you yoke. Before you... And I was like, I don't really want to do that, thanks.
I'm good, thank you.
Speaking of yokes, I've had this really... I'm in my not hating scrambled eggs era right now.
Oh, excited for you.
Yeah, just wanted you guys to know that. So, one thing, Caitlin, are you the saddest that Joel and Ellie missed because of the apocalypse?
Well, this episode brought me a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I need to de-stress, I like to watch time-lapse videos of plants growing.
That's wonderful.
Because it's really calming, and I just think it would help both Joel and Ellie. So I'm just picturing them going back to some random house that's clear and it's cozy. And this house has the internet, and they have an iPhone where they can just watch some time-lapse videos of plants growing together, and they could just sit there, cuddle up on the couch with some, like, hot tea, and then just watch them.
Wow.
watch them grow. So that's what's happening next week's episode. Sorry to the spoilers.
Whatever. I'm manifesting that for them.
Manifesting.
2 things on that note. First thing, you should definitely go on TikTok and look up videos of plant music. You can hook up little wires to their plants, and then I don't know if it, like, captures their vibrations or whatever when they're photosynthesizing, but they make the loveliest noises. They sing a lot, and it's very calming. Second thought, the internet. You made me think about the internet.
Sorry.
Can you imagine? I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, like, this means Facebook never existed.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a Last of Us.
Great. Let that in. Isn't the true fungus boomer memes on Facebook?
Yeah.
Isn't that the true? Isn't it the Minions? Isn't that the true fungus?
Yeah. Are they still doing that? I don't do Facebook.
They must. I feel like
or
that's
truly any social
when
media.
I think about Facebook, I think about the Minion memes of the
No, it's funny because that's the
2020s.
first thing that popped in my head when you said Facebook was Minions.
But where I went from here is I started thinking to myself, well, what is Mark Zuckerberg doing in all of this? And for some reason, all I can think about is that picture of him like surfing or something, and he's got all the sunscreen on his face. And can you just imagine, you're like, I don't know, you're like out someplace outside the QZ someplace, and you see this guy with the sunscreen on his face. Like,
that's the funny thing is that like
crawling around.
Celebrities are going to turn into infected. Like, can you imagine like Mark Zuckerberg being the runner that's coming after you?
The Tumblr post is like, Beyonce!
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Beyonce!
I guess we're not going on tour! Fuck! I think that's going to be our mission for next week for the season finale. You have to think about like the craziest celebrity concept and like what is a celebrity doing right now? Like, think of somebody who, I don't know, is just like wild. I'm going to say like David Dobrik, and he's like pranking my friend by infecting them, or just like something like that.
Oh my god. Except in this world, it'd be like making my friend think I'm infected, and that ends up like with them getting shot because they think, and it's like so badly, like, I'm in the hospital because my friend shot me. And then there's like an apology video of like, sorry guys, that wasn't funny. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Shane Dawson, haunted QZ Mall? ?
Stop.
Oh my god, you guys. Yes. So. God. Anyway, I was thinking about this. I don't even know what I originally wrote down, but I was listening to I Know in the End today by Phoebe Bridgers, and the very end of the song, she like guttural screams. It's incredible. Yeah. And I think it made me think of Ellie. I think she'd like that. I think she needs that. I think she's had that, but I think she will persistently be needing that forever. Yeah.
I'm really, on a scale of 1 to 8,000 times, I rewatched the baby girl scene today. While I was waiting for the appropriate time to go into the doctor's office. What do you rate this episode?
I'd say if bajillion was a real number, I would be rating it bajillion. Infinity, whatever. Yep. One of my favorite episodes of the season, if not my favorite. It really got me. Yep. I got.
It's so good.
How about you?
Got. I just kind of keyboard smashed some numbers, and I don't want to like try and figure out what number I put, but it's a big number and it's a lot. So a 1 kajillion billion padrillion trillion out of 5.
There's a 3 in here somewhere, and I just like, my brain went, it's pi.
It's pi, yeah.
3.14159.
No, this episode was so, I mean, every episode has been good. As if you've been listening, I think we've rated every episode like, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Or over 5, because it's just so good. But I don't know, this one just really hits different. I feel like this is the one where I'm like, this is Bella's Emmy. Yeah. This continues to prove that the show needs the Emmy sweep this year. Like, I don't know, it just, good adaptations can be done. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Yeah, no, this show is great. I'm fine. Things really going so good.
Well, thank you for listening to Lit by Moonlight. Tune in next week when we review the season finale. Can you believe it?
No.
We're here.
No.
I feel like it was just yesterday that we were together watching the premiere of this show.
It does feel like it was just yesterday.
Here we are for the finale of The Last of Us, episode 9. Look for the light.
And I'll read your note. It says, fuck.
Yep. That's my thoughts for next week, guys. I'm scared.
Yay.
Even though I know how it ends.
I think the plant thing is a possibility.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know how it ends?
Oh, I couldn't fucking... I know that... I don't know how this episode is going to end. I know what ultimately happens that prompts what happens in this Last of Us Part 2. Alas, against my will.
So sorry.
And I choose not to believe it.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
Me delusional. But yeah, no, I don't really know how this is going to, like, this episode. I don't know how this season's going to conclude.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you to watch this.
Well, I hope it's, like, good excited and not like, oh, I'm really gonna be crying all fucking night excited.
Who's to say?
Okay, great.
Who's to say?
Well,
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.